Coffee is not a sleep substitute, right? It's not something that you drink and then you can sleep 4 hours a night and be completely fine. Almost there. September, October, November, December, January, February, 40. I would love to be older and healthy. And I would love to have the amounts of energy that I have maybe today or had maybe 5 or 10 years ago to keep up with all of the things that I want to do. How hard should you push yourself when you don't get enough sleep? Yeah, I'm laughing, but on the inside I'm actually crying because I haven't really slept properly for I think a week now. In part because one of the kids is teething, and just is a very painful experience for a child to get their teeth, but also because indulging in one of my least favorite vices, which is computer games, because a new computer game was launched that I really wanted to play for a while now. So I finally got someone to lend me their PS5 and I'm actually playing that game. Not all night, but a bit later than my usual bedtime, which means that going to bed later and having interrupted sleep now is becoming a challenge for me. So anyway, we know sleep is important, right? If you've read Why We Sleep by Matt Walker, or gone on YouTube or any podcast that talks about longevity, health, fitness, well-being, sleep is going to influence a lot of the markers that are going to determine how good you feel, how alert you are, how much focus you have, how much stamina you have, how well you recover from the stresses of the day, whether those are physically, mentally, or emotionally. So sleep matters a lot, and there is just so much you can do on little sleep. I notice it in my workouts, but I also notice it in my mood. And I think that mood and that mental resilience, that is really a big factor in terms of getting out of bed and doing the things that I want to spend my life doing, because those things take effort and those things require mental alertness. There needs to be something inside of you that compels you to take that action. And the less I sleep, the harder it seems to become to mentally find the excitement to do those things. So that lack of sleep starts to eat away at my ability to push myself to actually perform and deliver on the things that I want to deliver on in my life. Now that's my personal life, but also at work, you can imagine that's a huge chunk of the day. It becomes progressively harder to focus. And I know people say, well, then just drink some coffee. Coffee is not a sleep substitute, right? It's not something that you drink and then you can sleep 4 hours a night and be completely fine. That's ridiculous, because your brain needs a number of hours of sleep to cleanse itself, to reset itself, to detox itself, so to speak, which, by the way, you don't need to do anything, where your body just does it on its own, as far as I understand. And then you load up on coffee, so what happens is that the caffeine then starts to interfere with your sleep, because you might have more coffee in the 8 hours before I actually try to go to sleep, so that doesn't work. For that reason alone. But like I said before, coffee is not a sleep substitute. But sleep matters also for my fitness journey, because I'm getting closer and closer to being 40 years old, and I just noticed that I want to keep up with the training schedule. I really do. And more people who are in my situation are probably going to recognize this, is life happens, and then if you don't get the workout in first thing in the morning or when you can, by the end of the day, and I've tried this for the last 2 weeks, by the end of the day, there's always a reason not to go out for that run, or not to go out for that workout, right? It's harder at the end of the day. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is then when you just get up and do all those kind of, like, I don't want to say chores, because exercise to me is, or I want it to be like brushing my teeth, something I do every day, twice a day. Almost there. September, October, November, December, January, February, 40. I wanted to talk about me being halfway through my life, right? Here's another thing that I realized recently. Like, when I hit 40, effectively that puts me at the halfway point of my life. Now sure, like, life expectancy could be 90 or 100, but in theory, right, I've probably had like 15 of my best years, maybe 20 of my best years behind me, especially physically. Like, you peak around 30, I guess, and I don't want to say I'm living on borrowed time, but I do notice little things getting into my 40s. Recovery is a bit harder, more prone to small, minor, inconvenient injuries. It's part of life. And you know, the pace I'm going and the foundation I'm building, probably I'll be relatively healthy by the time I'm 60 if I keep this up for 20 years and a little bit. And I really hope that I will. But there's no denying that as you get older, your body changes. And this insight came to me this week that, hey, I have actually reached that halfway point. Wow, what am I going to do about that? I don't know. There's not a lot I can do about it. It just happens, right? You get older with every passing day, with every passing minute, and that's completely fine. I would love to be older and healthy, and I would love to have the amounts of energy that I have maybe today or had maybe 5 or 10 years ago to keep up with all of the things that I want to do. And one of the things that I'm learning by, you know, pushing myself a little bit, but also doing a lot of these things, is that the more I do, the more energy I have to keep doing things. It's a strange momentum. It is so much harder to get up off the couch and out of a chair to go do something than it is to turn a 30-minute run into a 60-minute run, right? It is so much harder at the end of the day to then say, okay, I am going to go to the gym and do that workout, than it is to, during that workout, say, I am going to do an extra set. 4 minutes of HIIT. I'm going to add that on to the end of one more set of exercises for my legs or for my chest or for my back to grow stronger. Because the momentum is there and you can just do it. And you don't necessarily have to finish it if it's a big challenge, but you're just there and you can do it. You're making the most of the time you have, or I have there. But for everything that is going to come, I guess it is going to be progressively more challenging to maintain the levels of energy and fitness and clarity and alertness that I would like to have that experience of life. So there we are. I hope there was something in there for you. If you are enjoying this conversation, as always, go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a message, let me know how you're doing or where you are on your journey, and I will check in with you again next week. And friend, of course, wherever you are, remember, you've got to show up and do the work.